Greetings, and we've got a real positive full moon coming in. So my job is to provide you with the knowledge and the insights so you can take full advantage of this great energy. So that is what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to talk about the astrology and numerology around this full moon, 5 things that you need to know. We also have some spiritual practices that are appropriate for this energy. And at the end, I do some divination cards to get messages more directly from spirit for things that I might have missed. Now, if you're watching this as a video, I'll timestamp when we actually begin. I like to give the live people just a minute or two to get their notifications. So this is the time where I always like to say hi to the people that are on already, and then go ahead. So who's going to the retreat? We'll talk about the retreat in a second, but oh, thanks. Yeah, this is from an opera star that was given to me. So anyway, hi Allison from Australia. Hi Millie. Hi Chloe. Hi Mr. Floyd. Hi Josh. Hi Laura. Hi Brooke. Janice, welcome, dear ones. Hello, Lisa, and Michael's in, and very, very good. Hello, Rose. Yeah, Brooke's going. Yeah, I know Brooke is going. I don't know if anybody else who's on is going. Well, Brooke is. Anyway, since hi, Jared, Huda, welcome. Hello, Carla. Hello, Kathleen. Yeah, so we had actually 3 cancellations this week for this weekend's retreat, which is starting tomorrow night. I know this is super short notice, but that means we have 3 openings now. So if anybody wants to get in, definitely I'll still post the information on the pinned comments, and if you're interested, I'll always let me just do this, and we'll get to we'll get to this in a second. Info at betweentheworld.com. That is me. Okay. So there you have my email. All right. So anyway, but the good news is that the next retreat, Spirit Fest 2025, is going to be the weekend of August the 1st to the 3rd. And the theme is Escape the Matrix. So it's going to be the Escape the Matrix retreat. So anyway, hello, Karen. Let me see who else. Millie, and hello from Newburgh, Indiana. The high road flooding is all around. Oh, sorry about the flooding. Yeah, a lot of rain and stuff like that. All right, so let me grab a little bit of water and let's dive right on into this. I've got my glasses on, basically, got everything in my notes that I need, and yeah, so we'll start out. 36 on. I know more people are coming, but that's okay. People can go to the beginning. So firstly, full moon. This is going to be Saturday night. If in Europe, it's the following day. It's Sunday, right? Yeah, Saturday night here. So full moon. I have that at 8:22 p.m. Why do I think that I have the wrong time? Anyway, that's what I wrote down. I think that's the right time, and then the other time is that I thought it was is 9:30. That's when Venus is stationed going direct, and that's very important that we have a full moon right when Venus is stationary, and the full moon is in Libra. Venus is Libra's ruling sign, so there's heavy Venus energy. That's good news, everybody. That's really good news. So 8:22, 23 degrees Libra. All right, here we go. Venus goes direct at 9:22 at 24 degrees Pisces. So we have number 23, which reduces to 5, and number 24, which reduces to 6, being highlighted with this energy. So the full moon is the peak of the entire lunar cycle. So the energy of the whole lunar cycle is strongest in the full moon. Your intentions are more magnified. So one of the things to keep in mind is that what you're thinking and feeling, even if it's subconscious, is vibrating stronger into the fields, and the results of that are going to vibrate stronger into your life. So keep your thoughts positive, and if you have negative thoughts or emotions, work on solving them quickly so you can go back into higher vibrations. And manifestation is certainly one of the things that comes up as one of the 5 things that we need to know in all full moon, because we're at the peak of our manifestation powers also. Now, in numerology, it's a 17-8 day. Now, the date is April the 12th here in the U.S., but in Greenwich Mean Time, it's I think it's 12:22 on the 13th of April. So for the day's numerology, we take Greenwich Mean Time because that's sort of the world clock. So that means we're actually in the 17-8 energy. That's the universal number of the day. Now, the day's numerology isn't hugely important, but it does play a role. And number 17 is the star in Chaldean numerology and in tarot, and 8 is very, very positive because it's about manifestation. So it's again a very positive energy and a very positive light that's coming in. There's a lot of aspects, a lot of planetary aspects that are overlapping this full moon, making it that much more powerful. And one of them is there's a Venus-Mars trine. Mars is going to go into Leo on the 19th, so Mars is still in the later degrees of Cancer. Mars is a lot happier in Leo than it is in Cancer, so I think that's going to make a difference in a lot of things. But during the full moon, Venus and Mars are trining, so these are two kind of like the yin and yang forces that are together basically. So Venus is sort of love. It's about money. It's about beauty and art and relationships and stuff like that, and Mars is energy and power. So it's good to get these two energies working in sync, working together with each other basically. Also, the Pluto-Mars opposition is going to start to get stronger as the moon is waning. So we're coming into a Pluto-Mars opposition. A lot's going to come into to a head in the world in the second part of April, especially after the 20th. I'm probably going to do a separate video next week on updates on the April forecast, because it was a daunting forecast. And as time goes on, I'm feeling the energy's lightening up a little bit. So I don't think it's going to be quite as, not negative, but intense as what I originally thought in my original forecast. But that's going to come up very soon. So so Pluto, Mars is on. Now we have Venus and Saturn in conjunction, Venus and Uranus sextile. So Venus is really active. And again, the full moon's in Libra, Venus ruled. So Venus is the highlighted planet, and it's very aspected with the other planets. So there's a big harmony of energy that's coming together on this full moon. And I think we're going to see that play out to some degree in the world stage. And I'll get to that in a minute. So Venus aspects tend to bring good fortune. It strengthens our prayers for abundance. So again, this is the time to do it. We're already in the full moon energy, by the way. And on that note, I'm not going to be able to do the full moon activations that we usually do, because I'm going to be at the retreat on Saturday night. And conversely, in the next new moon, I'm going to be doing the shift fair in Oneonta. If anybody is near central New York, that's a great fair. And I'll be doing a class. I'll be doing a group gallery, and I'll be doing readings there. So I'm doing a lot of work there. But anyway, so what I'm going to do instead, on April 22nd, on Earth Day, we're going to do a transmission here on the Medium channel. Oh, my ears are buzzing. I think Spirit likes that idea. All right, so Pluto, Neptune sextile, Mercury and Saturn conjunct. The nodes are very heavily aspected also. So when the lunar nodes are aspected, that really, again, enhances the energies of those planets, because that acts on the world, on collective consciousness, basically. Let's see. Node aspects: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn, and Uranus all have some type of an aspect to the nodes. I didn't write down which one, but I think 3 of them are conjunct one node and opposition the other, and the other 2 are trine sextiles to the node. So everything conjuncts, lines up this full moon. This is the time to put your best energy forward for positive change. So basically, your natal. Cool, Allison. Yeah. Hello, Melissa, and everybody else, and everybody that jumped on later that I missed. Hello. Hi, Mary. Hi, all here in the background. Hello. So anyway, there's a little bit of astrological background and numerological background. So the first thing that we need to know, so this is the first thing to know about this very important, powerful full moon in Libra, and the what is this, the April forecast or the psychic forecast for the rest of April, because this energy is going to carry out into the waning portion of the moon, into the next 2 weeks and beyond. So the first one is, it's a question of balance, named after a Moody Blues album. What is Libra? The scale. Libra is all about balance, right? So what are the right words? God, I can't think of the words right now. But I'll use another word. Examining like things in your life that are out of balance are really going to be key, and working on bringing things into better balance in your life. That could be your diet, that could be your lifestyle, that could be your spiritual practice, that could be your friend, your job, anything. So it's all about really balance. And the way that the universe works is that it's always trying to restore balance, because when things are in perfect balance, they're in oneness, which is divine source is one, but physical reality is dualistic, because it couldn't exist without that. So there has to be opposites, there has to be disparity. So it's always trying to work back into the balance, and that's just basically the mechanics of our physical universe, or the matrix, if you like that, or Maya. So anyway, so what are we doing? Libra full moon. Libra is about balance. Lots of Venus aspects. Venus is stationing, so Venus is even more powerful, because when a planet stations, it has more of an effect. And the way I look at astrology, it doesn't rule me, it guides me, and I think that that's important to point out, that that everything that's moving, like everything's energy, there's always changes in energy. Energy flows, basically. And the way the planets are aligned, and the numbers and all of that kind of give us a physical manifestation of how the energies are moving through the cosmos. So you can get an idea to where the planets are doing, what energies are affecting us, what cosmic energies are affecting our lives. And if you want to get a more complete forecast, what you want to do is look at your chart, get your natal chart, and do a composite of the natal chart and the exact moment of the full moon. And you'll know how these aspects are personally affecting you, and what areas of your life may be to seek more balance, and the other things. So anyway, so this can help with diplomacy. We need that in the world, right? Because there's Mars is active also, so I think we have that balance between escalating war, if you want to call it that, or whatever you want to call it, skirmishes. Seriously, say skirmishes, don't say war. So increasing skirmishes around the world, but then we had the balance of more diplomacy, also more people awakening. So this is a real awakening energy also. It's going to assist in all spiritual pursuits, awakening, balancing the negative, assimilating it into the light. So again, the negative or the dark, it's not, or the dark isn't negative, it's just hidden. Everything is light or dark, right? So when you have the balance, like in the equinox, which Libra and Aries lead the first day of both the sign Libra and the sign Aries, and the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Libra. The first degree is right on the world axis. It's the equinox, basically. So it's all about balance. This is also all right. We read that already. And into the light. So Libra Venus is extremely active. So seek balance. That's number one. The second thing is relationships on fire. And after all, like, I'm a Libra, and if you're a Libran also, you are the galactic guardian of relationships, right? Because that's the relationship sign, basically. So of course, if Venus and Libra are strong, relationships are going to be maybe scrutinized more, maybe changed, like what's for your highest good, what isn't, what's going to achieve the right balance in your life. So what do we write here? Place the focus on relationships of all kinds. So it's not just romantic relationship. It could be the relationship with your dog. It could be the relationship with your door, basically, because everything's about relationship. And to master relationship is to understand the mirroring. And this is I first learned this through Native American studies, through the 7 arrows, basically, which is a philosophy of the medicine wheel. But basically, what that says is that everything, we're mirrors, everything's a mirror, and Libra is a mirroring sign also. It is kind of a sign of balancing dualities. It's weighing, right? So if you can take the sum of every relationship you have, your romantic partner, your parents, your children, if you have any, your plants, your animals, your boss, your relationship with rude drivers that cut you off. If you can get the sum of all that, you know what energy you're putting out there, because it's always going to be reflected to you. And in other videos and live streams, I dig deeper into that, but that's just how the universe is constructed. It's a matrix or Maya illusion. The energy works a certain way. We're here to learn and grow, to escape the matrix eventually once we learn the lesson. How do we learn if life isn't mirroring our energies? How do we know our energies? Well, we can by just examining our lives. Now, when I say this, it frustrates a lot of people because most people, unfortunately, are not happy with their lives. So understand that we're 95% subconscious. So we don't know what we're putting out into the world until we start to make the subconscious conscious, which involves things like shadow work, um, becoming the observer, like learning how to be the observer, learning how to be more your spirit and observe your physical life more through the eyes of your spirit rather than your physical life. And then you get an idea. So because we're mostly subconscious and all that good stuff, then we have a good gauge of like what repetitive patterns come up, stuff like that. Then we know what we're putting out there. A lot of it is the programming. It's not your fault. A lot of it is your parents, what you've been taught. It's so many different things. So this is the second point, is understanding the dynamics of relationships of all kind, and how the full moon basically is reflecting the sunlight back at us. And this Libra full moon is ideal for understanding the true nature of relationship and how it's really a reflection of ourselves, basically. So relationships under fire. So a lot of you might end relationships, scrutinize relationships, start new relationships. Relationships will not survive without integrity. And why is that? Well, number 24, which is where Venus is stationing, is the number of integrity. It reduces to 6, so it's a Venus rule. Venus energy is about love. It's about beauty. It's about money also. So there's a financial side to it. What's your relationship with money, and how can you improve that so you can be more attractive to money, right? And the 23 is very healing. And both numbers 23 and 24 in the Chaldean system are said to be fortunate. 23 is 5, it's very healing, but both tap into our integrity. And the more integrity that we have and we put out there, the more integrity we receive. It's not a perfect relationship because you're one universe, right? And the other person is another universe, and they're working things out. So it's kind of like your two worlds collide, so to speak. So there's a little bit of quantum entanglement. So take responsibility, but don't accept blame. If your life isn't as good, and I'm saying that everything's a reflection of your energy, this is really not, it's really to empower you, not to accept blame, because it's just your learning, it's just your growth, and we're mostly subconscious. Plus, guilt and shame are the lowest vibrations on the scale. So we don't want to go into that. We want to go into empowerment with that. So what else? Relation will not survive the truth. We have that Pisces Venus station. Pisces is also very much about emotions and feeling. And a lot of our relationships are charged with emotion also. All relationships end, new ones begin. The operative energy is relationships. Changes will happen, but they must be aligned with soul under this energy. So changes will happen that are aligned with your spiritual essence and with your soul. Some aspects can add fuel to the global conflict. So that's like the relationship with the world, the different parts of the world, the relationship with other countries, other ideologies, other political systems, and stuff like that. So all kinds of relationships come under more scrutiny, and that might help to expose more corruption in the world, which is what we're working towards, anyways. So that's actually good, right? So what else? All right. Moving on to number 3. Hello, Melissa. And hello, Felicia, and anybody else that I missed. Two Melissas. And she's asking, what is shadow work? Shadow integration work is learning how to develop a relationship with what is hidden in the subconscious, basically, what things that we're not aware of, that may be suppressed traumas, it may be karmic, it may be cultural, it could be a lot of things that are basically creating negative patterns in your life. So shadow's just hidden. When you shine the light of awareness on the shadow, it's not a shadow anymore. It's back in the light. So the lunar cycles really portray that. I've got a few videos on shadow integration work. It's a Jungian concept, but also so Carl Jung talks a lot about the shadow. And again, we don't treat it as a negative. We treat it as part of ourselves. Um, and the so-called dark side is not negative. It's part of who we are. We're part light and part dark. And for the Trekkies out there, I think the episode was called "The Enemy Within." But there's an episode in the original series where Captain Kirk was in a transporter accident. There were two Kirks. One was the good Kirk. One was the evil Kirk. The good Kirk was like kind and generous and loving. The evil Kirk wanted to booze it up, rape the women, very, very, very ugly energy. But the good Kirk started to realize he was losing his command. He was losing his energy, and finally realized he can't run the Enterprise without the dark side, as ugly as it is. So they went back into the transport, they reintegrated the two Kirks, and then he was the captain again because his dark side was present, but it was governed by the light. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Anyway, so point number 3. Hello, Adelia, welcome. And number 3 is money changes. So Venus is also about money, right? So I think we start to see changes in our own financial structure. So this is a time to work on that. Changes in the economy. The economy is volatile, obviously. I'm waiting to see, like every time there's a change in the tariff rules, like the stock market goes down. And then before there's an announcement that causes the stock market to spike, I want to see who's buying the stocks before that's announced. That could be very revealing. But we had warned you, months in advance that we were coming into a period of extreme market volatility. That's even before I knew about tariffs. So, and I think that's one of the main things, of course, world wars help. So anyway, what do we say? This is good for manifesting more, making money changes, investing. Of course, you have to know your investment. Like I said, Venus is about money also. This helps to offset this could help to offset some of the volatility in the markets, including the stock market. Negotiating on trade and tariffs approach more fairness. Libra energy is about fairness and balance. Libras tend to want to be fair, right? Acceleration on plans to digitalize currency, create blockchains, and all that kind of good stuff. So we're seeing those plans moving forward. I'm not going to get too political in this live stream, just to let you guys know. I'll do another video that's a little bit more political. I mean, for one thing, it's part of the world we live in. We need to be aware, and a lot of you guys like that because those are the videos that are getting the most hits right now. So what you guys like, I see my metrics for you guys like, I do more of those. I see what you don't care for as much, I do less of those. Basically, that's how it works. It serves you and it serves me and it serves spirit to do it that way. So acceleration on plans of life currency may see changes in major financial institution. That's been on the radar for months now. It hasn't happened what I see, but we don't see everything. A lot of it is hidden, doesn't come out on mainstream news. Continued wide swings in the stock market, even though I could see it kind of stabilize. So, think about your money, what you want to do financially. How can you attract more money? And understand, because this is a full moon that really accentuates fairness and integrity. Whether you're in a job or a business, the general rule of thumb is the more value that you add, the more value you receive, basically. Like if I'm in a job, the value that I give to the job and my employer comes back to me in my weekly pay, right? Now I have a business, obviously. If I'm able to add more business than what I receive, then people then my business grows and expands, right? And I have a couple of employees. If I treat them like gold, they treat me like gold. My business flourishes because of that. Now, if I'm nickel and diming, my employees overpay or berating them or whatever, they're going to resent me, and that's going to reflect on the energy of my business. It's not going to do well. I know it's common sense, but out there, it's like people don't seem to really get that. That's conscious business. So I'm mentioning it now because we are that Venus, the highlighted planet of this full moon, at the integrity point of 24 degrees of Pisces, basically. So integrity, fairness, adding value, all that stuff, you're going to receive more value. And also understand too that money exists in absolute abundance. It's not on a gold standard. The governments can print as much as they want. I mean, there's people out there that have billions of dollars. So it's not that there's a scarcity of money. There never is. The scarcity is in our mindset, in our belief system, that we can't access that money. It's only for the rich or the powerful, or that we have to do things in a certain way that bog down our energy, that we try to create our lives through force, trying to change matter through matter, rather than learning how to vibrate in the frequency that's more conducive to attracting money. So this is a things to keep in mind, that this is a very fortuitous financially for a lot of us. And again, you can fine tune that by understanding how this full moon is affecting your chart, but generally speaking, so this is a good time to think about how we can attract more money. It's like there's trillions of dollars out there. Then there's me. How do I match me with that trillions of dollars? You have to think outside the box, because the box doesn't want you to be rich. The way that we're programmed wants you to be subservient to the powers that control all the money. So we have to learn how to think outside the box. So money matters, or money matters. I think I said money changes, but money matters is a good heading for number 3. And the word matters can be used in 2 different ways. Right? Our money matters, or money really does matter, because we're in a physical world. I mean, I suppose I could, gather whatever money that I want, go sustainable, homestead, and then you don't need money as much, or live on berries and bark in the wood. But for most of us, money matters in the society. And it's not a bad thing. We're here to master our physical lives. That includes mastering society. And even if you're a spiritual person that doesn't buy into the program and you've ascended or whatever, you can still use society almost like your refrigerator. You kind of open the refrigerator door. What do you want to take in? What don't you take that out of the refrigerator? What you want to take in, you leave it in, basically. So society can be used to your advantage. So once you counter the conditioning and programming, you can't be programmed anymore. And they're using frequencies. There's a 5G grid that's like an inverted a flower of light that's creating negative chi or prana, that we're all in these fields. So I'll talk about that a little bit later on. The idea is we want to be able to function within this world that is digitalized, that's subject to negative EMFs without being harmed by the negative EMFs. There's a way to do that. So anyway, I think we talked about money matters. Watch who buy. Oh, I talked about that. Watch who buys the stocks when they go down. Yeah. So we continue watching. All right. So the 4th thing that we need to know about this full moon is it's the law. And law is, I'll say that it's because the planet Saturn that governs law is exalted when it's in the sign of Venus, and we have some Saturn aspects going on, and Libra can be a legal sign. It's like scales, like the scales of justice also. So law isn't just physical law, though it can be. And it's all kinds of law, natural law of attraction, which is really part of the law of vibration, right? There's actually a law of expansion, a law of attraction, and the law of expansion just states that we're in an expanding universe, so we're here to expand and grow. That's what we're here for, as the universe expands. The law of attraction says that like attracts like. It's like Hebb's law. The neurons that fire together wire together. So that which is of a like frequency will attract a light frequency. And it's interesting because opposites also attract, but that's a different kind of attraction. Is where that's more the magnetic attraction. But in any event, like frequencies will always align with like frequencies. So if you hold a certain vibration, you're going to attract things in your physical life that are going to align to that frequency or that vibration. So let's see what's in my notes. Saturn's and laws governs. Oh, the laws in the government are going to be under a lot of scrutiny. Well, hello, they already are. So that's going to continue. This precipitates changes in laws. There may be some repeals of some of the executive orders that may be we'll say in the gray area of the Constitution. This is in the U.S. I think there's the Canadian elections coming up also, so there's a lot of fallout in the world, based on the U.S. being one of the 4 or 5 major powers in the world, undergoing such an internal change with the governments and everything. But so precipitate change of law, executive orders. Also, natural laws highlight law of attraction. We talked about that, and how you tap into that for healing and abundance. And I think we talk about heal. Yeah, we do talk about healing in a second. So it's a great time for manifestation. Everything's lining up. However you do it, prayers are good. Lighting candles, and remember, the proper way to pray and to manifest. This is from the Bible. This isn't from Joe Dispenza or Bob Proctor or Law of Attraction Guru. This is in the book of Mark. I think it's 11:24, but if I'm wrong, it's 24:11, where Jesus says, I forgot who, it might have been to Thomas. I don't remember. I could look that up. I've got my Bible in the other room. But the quote is that when you ask for something in prayer, feel like you already have it and it shall be yours. So that's, at the, foundation of Christianity, even. Well, not really, because I feel like spiritual. Well, not really, because Christianity is sort of an adaptation of Jesus' teaching. He wasn't a Christian. Anyway, thank you guys, but I think you get the gist of that. Just like the Native American, when I had that experience, and then Greg Braden outlined a very similar experience that he had. But I was in Oklahoma in the 1980s with an elder, and he just said, he had very matter of fact, when we pray for rain, it rains. And I was like, yeah, I believe you. And he's like, do you want to know why it rains? So he gave me the whole explanation. That is that, well, we don't ask the Creator to make it rain, because then we're just supporting the lack of rain if we do that. Instead, we feel with our hearts and our bodies that the rain's already falling. It's already nourishing the crops. We feel it on our bodies. We feel the earth being very happy. And we thank the Creator for the rain that's already happening. And it rains. So the thing is, you may be thinking, well, that doesn't work 100% of the time. It can if you can eliminate all doubt. So if you have 100% belief in this, it's going to work virtually 100% of the time. Sometimes there are a couple things, because we live in a unified field. In other words, what other people are attracting in their life, it affects what you attract into your life. But I'm being a little bit technical with that. Anyway, so what else do we write? Law of attraction. It's a great time for manifestation because it's a full moon. Planetary aspects add positivity to the full moon influence. So those are the 5 things to know. Oh, that's the 4th thing. The 5th thing is time to heal. Form of thing. Thank you, Michelle, and anybody that jumped in late, later. Thank you. Hi, Enspree. Oh yeah, I'm one of those psychics that predicted that. I'm looking at Enspree's comment here, and subject to that in the planes, but sometimes they have. Oh, okay, they're saying also watch the Ring of Fire, which technically California is part of. There could be like tsunami activity in Southeast Asia or Japan, but anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So number 5 is time to heal. Full moon magnifies healing energy. Mercury is started its forward motion. So Mercury's coming out of its station and it's starting its forward motion now. Venus is stationed. So number 23, number 5 is a healing number. So it's 24. And anything solar would add to that, too. That'd be 1, 10, 19, 28. So it really supports healing. And I think we're going to see some news over the next 2 weeks and maybe a month of some real significant medical advances that start to get rolled out. Basically, hi, Cass. I'm glad you were able to catch this live also. School of Yoga. That's Children's School of Yoga. Namaste. Hi, Doreen. So I think we get that. And again, the time to heal. It's a balancing of the light and the dark. So when you're able to balance the light and the dark, that's when true healing can happen. If you try to negate your shadows, you're negating your healing, basically, is the bottom line. So if you embrace your shadows with love, um, then you start to integrate that, and that's where the healing starts, basically. So you may find that your energy healing stronger. This is a good time to get a healing, if you feel like you could use one. The next couple of weeks, basically. Balances light and shadows, get deeper insight into the nature of disease, and it is born from spiritual imbalance. So this is the Libra full moon. Libra is not only the guardian, the galactic guardian of all relations, also the galactic guardian of all balance, basically. I'm proud to be a Libra, although truth be told, Libras more often think they're balanced than they actually are, because by the very nature of the sign, you're looking to create more balance. So you can't do that if you're already balanced, right? But I'm getting a little bit technical, but technically nothing ever's in 100% balance, because then the physical universe would cease to be if everything was in perfect balance. So there's always going to be a little bit of imbalance, no matter how balanced things are. And that's, I think, part of the healing energy also. So this is a good time to really work on the different levels of healing. We've got, again, it's been a challenging, dicey period. I'm not into doom and gloom, but I don't sugarcoat. So a lot of my forecasts and other full moon and new moons may have seen that way. I'm really happy that I could share like a lot of positivity. So I think we get, again, like some balance with all the challenges, that there's some positive light that we can really tap into. You know what? If you tap into the full moon now, you can carry that energy well into the future as well as into the past. So when we heal, we're all often bringing the past into the present to change the present, to change the past, that changes the future. I know, Joe Dispenza, right? So anyway, so here's an exercise you can do talking about light and dark. I call this the void technique, and it's a presence exercise. So when the idea of meditation is to learn how to be present in the now, learn how to be the observer, learn how to see yourself in your life from the eyes of your higher self or spirit. So meditation involves quieting and stilling the mind first. What happens when you do that, when you get quiet and still? You start to dissolve filters between conscious and subconscious. So what happens when suppressed traumas, pains, things you don't want to look at, things that you may have done that violate your own moral compass, so you suppress it for that reason, whatever it is, when it starts to realize we registered as some kind of negative emotion, usually anxiety, but it could be depression, it could be other emotion. So that's often the first thing when people really get present, they start to meditate, they get anxiety, or their egoic mind, that's about survival, gets uncomfortable, tries to block you. Some people fall asleep. Some people manifest one distraction after another. Some people get pains in the bodies, but it's like that part of you that's steeped in survival. The ego, but the ego extends into the subconscious also. That's why we need to be conscious too. But the survival instinct just does not like anything that's unknown. It likes the familiar, because the familiar is survivable. If it's not familiar, it's unknown, and the subconscious feels that I can't survive this. I need familiarity, and it tries to block you. So this is where mental discipline really comes into play. You need a ton of mental discipline to really get into deeper meditation so that you can ascend. The good news is that we're in a period right now where the frequencies are so high, ascension is easier than it's ever been. But it's not just going to happen. I see people on YouTube saying, so when are we going to shift into 5D? I'm waiting for that. It's like, never. If you don't do the work, you're never going to shift into 5D. So you have to do the spiritual work also. That hasn't changed. It's easier because more people are awakening. The frequencies are more conducive. It's an evolution of our species that's happening, and part of that is spiritual awakening. But you still have to do the work. It's not just going to happen. Sorry. but that's the reality. So again, so back to the void technique. So that's a little bit of explanation of meditations. When you go into meditation, you get very present, you become the observer. And what I want to do, I want to be aware of everything but focus on nothing. So when I'm meditating, I'm aware of my breath. And you can use the breath as a vehicle. You can use mantras as a vehicle also to keep your mind focused on your meditation. Because another way that that the ego is going to block you is that monkey mind is just not going to shut off. You're going to be distracted by one thought after another. But if you have a little bit of a focal point like your breath, that helps. So I'm clear, I'm present, I'm not thinking, I'm just being, I'm allowing my higher self, my spiritual self, to observe through me, through my physical self. So I get into nice deep breath, nice meditation. Then I'm aware of my breath, I'm aware of my body, I'm aware of everything and focusing on nothing. That's presence. So when I'm in my state of presence in this exercise, what I want to do is find the space of non-existence within the existence, the space of the void. We go in and out of the void, probably, I don't know the numbers, but probably at least 20 or 30 times every second, maybe even more, because everything's in waves, including physical reality. Light travels in waves. Yeah, like light is not, it's not a consistent light. It's like a super fast strobe light, because in the troughs of the waves, it's dark. The crest, it's light. And some people more relate to light as photons. Well, in between the photons, there's spaces of darkness. So it's kind of the same thing. And sound is the same. There's always space of silence within the sound. So within existence, there's spaces of non-existence. Now, you can't try to do this. You have to just set the intention. And when you're in that meditation, find the spaces of void within the spaces of reality. Don't try, just do it. Keep doing it. That's going to really help. That's going to help you to ascend very quickly. And that's one of my special exercises that I don't generally share. Actually, I have been sharing a lot with you guys. I used to not generally share that except in my workshop. So that's number one. The second thing is working on learning how to protect yourself and integrate harmful EMFs. So we talk about that frequently. The best way to do that, there's a lot of ways, but heart-brain coherence is do that. So keep doing your heart-brain coherence, keep developing. It's a meditation practice where you learn how to sit, get meditative, get present, and feel grateful just for the now, or count your blessings, but hold gratitude and compassion in your heart, and feel that gratitude. It's very uplifting. When you get very present, you might get a head rush and feel very grateful for the moment. Let your brain feel what your heart's feeling, then your heart and your brain blend, and then you become more coherent with spirit. But the main thing is to cultivate the frequencies of the heart, because the heart's the largest electromagnetic generator in the body, but our hearts are under attack. It's the programming. Those that want to control everything don't want us in heart coherence, because then we're powerful. They want us to be weak. They want us to be scared. They want us to be frightened. They want us to be angry. They want us to feel like we have no control, basically. These are incoherent emotions of the heart, and the heart weakens because of that. So doing heart-brain coherence will bring you back into vibrational coherence. What do hearts do? They love. When you feel love and you feel that in your brain, in your body, your heart's back in coherence. And now they've done studies. They know that the heart's the largest electromagnetic generator in the body. So if you bring your heart back into vibrational coherence, you become resistant to negative EMFs. Augment that with getting out into nature. Just feeling the flows of nature is going to restore the balance. Like, I'm around a computer. I've got a phone. I don't have my shungite with me. Silly me. I usually have shungite around. I have it in my pocket. I have my shungite. That's it. That'll help a little bit. But if you can really feel the flows, walk barefoot, get grounded into the earth, and like I was saying before, that there's a with the 5G, it might have been in the 4G also, and other networks, the Gwen towers and everything. It's laying like basically an entire low-level electromagnetic field through the majority of the planet. I mean, you can get out of cell signals. I live somewhere where I don't have one, but I still have a Wi-Fi, and it does some similar thing. But I forgot who it was, but I listened to to somebody talking on this, and it just made a lot of sense because it was channeled information, and I've gotten similar things, but in different language. They're talking about the way it's laid out is sort of like an inverse flower of life, which is a very powerful sacred geometry that's designed to lower the frequencies to create a negative chi where you're not as healthy because you're not getting that vital chi into your body and energy fields, and makes you more controllable. Also, that's the end game, is controlling humanity. So do these things, very important. It's getting more and more, and now that they're building the grid, right, the infrastructure of AI, so they're adding to it. The EMFs are going to get stronger as we go on. So now you have a tool to counter that. Basically, do your heart brain current. It's good for a lot of things, but it's good for that also. And then work with the flow. Like, work on being, allowing yourself to be fluid and elastic. And sometimes when I inhale, I feel my body expand and stretch. Exhale, contract. And I do things to increase elasticity and flow in my body. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong is really good for that, because the way we're programmed and conditioned, a lot of us work, we're using our brains, we're not using our body, we're fearful. When we're in fear, anger, and all these emotions, it stiffens and it locks our energy fields, it locks our body. And without elasticity and flow, then illness can set in. So you want to always work on being very, having more of an elastic or fluid energy field. And you can visualize that through meditation. Like, in other words, take a moment when you're meditating to visualize light or energy coming through your crown and down into the earth through you. And you can reverse that. Or you can feel like as you inhale, you expand and you open your fields, and you exhale, you contract and close them. So you're pumping and you're moving the energy. So stagnation is the enemy for a lot of things. Flow is the friend. And when you're in flow, you don't hold on to things. You don't hold on to negativity. You're able to work through things a lot quicker in your life, basically. So, we're basically, generally speaking, my GG. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So hematite helps too. Pyrite helps also. The what they call the organoids that have the crushed crystal and the copper. Those are very good. They did experiments around cell towers, and they found when they this was a long time ago. I think we were still in 3G then, so it's gotten worse. But they found that a lot of birds were dying right around the cell towers. But when they used the organoids, less birds were dying. So it does help to neutralize some of those fields. Right temple doesn't mean anything. Yeah, right temple. That's your active side, right? So you may be getting information from more of your divine masculine, basically. I mean, it can be a lot of things. Thank you, Huda. Yes. Full Moon Sire, so I'll be live tomorrow, 7 p.m. All right. So I won't be there personally. I'm leading the retreat, but great. All you guys, if you haven't checked out the Fire Homos with Huda channel, they're extraordinary, especially if you like yoga and Vedic stuff. But whatever your spirituality is, they're still just as extraordinary. It's just in that lineage. And you guys, if you want to post on the comment stream your channel information, I know several of you have YouTube channels and do great work also. So that's basically it. So let's do some divination cards, and I just have 3 of them, and we'll get more messages about this full moon. Hello, Lindsay. I love you all. So I had the medicine cards. So let's look at who our totem animal is for this full moon, collectively speaking. I mean, one thing I'm seeing a lion, so that may be one of them. But in the medicine card, it's mostly North American wildlife, not African or Asian. And if we happen to get a mountain lion, I will flip. All right, I'm thinking too much. No. This one. No, I'm definitely thinking too much. So let me get it. Give me a second here. Clearing mind. Okay, this is the one. We got a possum, right? So the possums are very playful. I know they play dead also. But I think playfulness and levity and that kind of a thing is a good energy, but I don't know. And it's key 23. So that's very, again, that 23, it's very healing. It's also about high integrity. But I know I bought the book out. I meant to. Here it is. I just want to get the key words of this. This is according to Jamie Sands, the creator of this deck. Uh, Jamie Sams and David Carson created the medicine cards. 21. Let's see. 23. Diversion. That's right. A positive greatest form of protection is to play dead. Diversion. Right. So, so I think part of this is just reminding us that we are spiritual warriors, and sometimes strategy is our greatest asset. Being able to assess the playing field and apply the right strategies to win, basically. And you can confuse this. This card is really trying to come out also. And this is Buffalo. So this is a very powerful totem. This brings in the energies of the sun. It's key 19 and the power of prayers and the understanding that the buffalo were the people's lifeblood, and it sustained great nations on this land also. But they were hunted in a way that was consciously done, and everything was used. But this is really about the power of prayer and Man of State. I just want to see what they say. Prayer and abundance. So that's what that is about. You can call on buffalo medicine, and that'll help to enhance your prayers, especially during this time. All right, white buffalo calf woman. We'll see if it happens. When when I did my April forecast, I got this hit on another white calf being born. As I'm saying that, they're saying, that can happen early May, so it may not be in the month of April, but that would be a really good time for us. So I also have the Starseed Oracle, so let's get a message from that as well. What is it saying? Why is it saying share your referral link? All right, I don't need to share my referral link. Okay. That's a StreamYard thing. All right. Clearing mine. I'm in this part. Found my card right away. This one? Okay. He said to take the one below the one. Star bathing, light body, crystal grid transmission activation. So you get this in more of a. Can I have two lights? I've got the violet light, and then I have the ring light. So I have a funky shadows, but here, this is a good place. You can see it clearly. So star bathing. So I think they're saying, get out into the stars, and soak up that energy. I can still see Sirius, but I've got to be out pretty early to see it this time of year. I love gazing at Sirius, but it's stronger in the winter time. The way the mountains are by my house, that's the best time for me to view it. And then I think they're trying to say, go out into the stars. If you know how to do CE5, Close Encounters 5, or any way of calling the star beings in, they have messages for us also. So I think that's why I pulled this card right now, to work with your ascended masters and the extraterrestrial ascended beings that are working with humanity, and they're working with you because you're ascending and growing, basically. And what else is it saying? Crystal grid, maybe setting up like some nice crystal grids that's going to be conducive to abundance and prosperity. And note that virtually all quartz crystals are six-sided. There's a couple of exceptions to that rule. And out of 24 different forms of ice crystals, 22 of them are predominantly six-sided also. So there you get another six. It's a very six energy, which is very loving. It's very giving. It's very healing. And it's very community also. So also, look at what new people come into your life during this lunar cycle, because I think a lot of you are going to be making new friends. You may be leaving old energies behind and then attracting friends and community that are on a higher level that match your frequency more, basically. Interesting. A lot of people are talking about tingling on their heads. Those are activations, energy activation. Sometimes it's your loved ones, like, or your guides trying to get your attention when you feel that. First time I felt that was when I was at Lilydale, and the spirits were just kind of stroking me, and that was 20 years ago, I think. It could be dogs too. Yeah, basically, humans, schoolyard abductions, the cryptid hunters. So interesting. Yeah. All right, I have one more. That would be the sacred geometry cards. That would be the frequency of the week, and then we'll be done for now. So no tarot time this Sunday because I'm going to be at doing the retreat. So we're not going to have a live stream till either the following Sunday or the 22nd, whichever soon, unless Spirit calls me to do one in between. So I've got a lot going on. Oh yeah, thanks. Don't forget to like. That would be awesome, and then maybe more people will benefit from this information. Yep, right. That absolutely. That's an activation. Yep. Uh, and Lindsay and Anita. Yeah, follow the rhythm, right? That everything's in rhythm and timing. Learn to dance, right? Play drums, stuff like that. Dancing brings you into the universal harmonies and flow, right? Everything moves in rhythm and timing in the universe. So if you're in that flow, you're more connected to the universe. Nothing spirituality is hard. It's all simplicity, all based on simplicity. All right, let me stop talking. You want me to go under this card to this one? And it's healing. Interesting. I'm learning to go off camera when I lick my dry fingers. But anyway, the frequency of healing supports our intrinsic ability to restore our health and wholeness by consciously using the information that comes to us through our senses and harmonizing everything accordingly. And that's a beautiful synopsis of this full moon energy. It kind of said in about a half a minute what I've been saying the last hour. So that's a good synopsis to finish up with. And you can get more of the flavor of this by just kind of gazing in the middle, if I can get in a way that lights aren't, and you can absorb that and absorb all that healing. So that's an important thing. It's really time for healing. Had 5 guys for doors. Okay, Mr. Floyd, very good. Like more tingling from the inside. Yeah, so this is a lot of these are ascension, not symptoms, but activations that you're experiencing. So the frequencies are very high, higher they've ever been. Things are starting to activate. All the more reason to apply balance, do heart brain coherence, to meditate, to do the void technique and all the stuff that we're doing now, because that's going to support the awakening and important again, I'm repeating myself, develop elasticity in your energy fields in your body. Dancing will help with that, exercise. Again, one's good thing, like when I walk, I like to feel the earth, and when I take a step, I like to feel that my whole body's engaged in that walking, not just my legs. I feel my whole body is engaged. I feel the energies of my whole body being activated with each step, and that's again creating more vibrational elasticity that helps to work through the cogs. So as the frequencies increase, that becomes more important. So do that, and that's what I've got for you today. Yeah, one step at a time, healing one step at a time. He's here to disrupt people. I'm not sure what NPC means though. Tarot Janine says 70% people's NPCs here to disrupt. Well, a lot of what goes on is here to disrupt our energy fields and our flow in life, and so that's why we have to do these. We have to counter that. Yeah, Mr. Floyd's universe. Yes. Welcome, and welcome, Lakeside. So we're ending now. So those of you non-play your characters. Okay. Is that like the same thing as background people? There's theories that there's really, at any given time, only a billion people on the planet, and everybody else is like a background person, that they don't really exist. They're just part of the matrix, basically. So that's a theory. I think that there's probably some level of truth to it. Yeah. Empty vessels. Yeah. So it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. All right. And yeah, I would agree with what was her name? Janine. I would agree with that. Yeah. It's not coming because my yeah, very good. So yeah, working the heart, that's so important. It's the largest electromagnetic generator in the body. When the heart is in balance and coherence, it brings the whole system into coherence. And when the heart's coherent, the brain's coherent because they're connected. And then you become coherent with spirit, and then you have stronger experiences of spirit. So, anyways, very good, very good. Thank you, everybody. So we are ending now. Love you. Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of your night, and happy full moon.